Hello, you're watching Altek2k Gaming. In this video we're going to go over some news on the league, and how my character's doing, and sort of where it is. Okay, first off the news, they have buffed the expedition encounters. There's now 54% more chance of dropping a logbook than there was a couple of days ago, and also the loot itself is being increased. That's the currency that you use for the traders. So they're increasing the stack sizes of those in all maps, and then that's going to level up as you increase in map size. Which makes it sound like it didn't do that before, and if it didn't, then that's really kind of weak design. But hey. Okay, the build. We are now at level 90, which is pretty impressive within the week, especially with the amount of time I've had to play. We're also still on a 5 link, but we did manage to get our last ascendancy. And a shout out to Auntie, who found the last shrine and invited me to come and get it so that I could actually run Final Lab. I don't remember any league where it's taken this long. Biggest problem for my builds has been death by freezing. This has now been resolved, because I now have an anti-freeze flask which auto-casts when I get frozen. So that's been very, very useful. I'm also now at max spell blocks, so the ice projectiles aren't even touching me at all anymore. Now I've changed some of the supports around a little bit to increase early game damage through giving a full 4 link to Corrupting Blood. I've also applied a counterattack to the build which curses enemies with vulnerability, but also Culling Strikes them, which means they die when they get to low life. This will go to a 3 link once we get the Surrenderer's Shield, and then I can reuse that skill gem. Now I've also tried to swap out one of the gems, which would be Ruthless, to use Petrified Blood and the gem that gives you flat physical damage equal to 2% of your life. But I haven't quite got enough life yet to make it feel safe, so I rolled it back. We are still on a 5 link, which we do need to change. I just haven't had the currency yet. Currency drops have been really, really low. In fact, most of my chaos has come from haggling. Currency drops seem to be a lot lower than usual. Now, I'm not sure if that's just me or whether other people are feeling it as well. Let me know in the comments below. And also, as I've mentioned, the spawn rate of the Trials of Ascendancy seem really, really low. Let me know what your thoughts are on that. Are you having the same experience, or have you been getting them fine? We have reached tier 13 maps. They're still a bit rippy when you get to the bosses. That should be fixed once we get the 5 link and once I get some more health. My gear's trashed. The only thing I've bought is sort of Jack the Axe, the shield which is Lionized Remorse, and a ring that gives me mana sustain through Mana Leech. That will go into a gem eventually, but I've only got 1 gem slot at the moment. And tier 12 maps are most comfortable. Now the reason I haven't gone straight for a 6 link, which I normally would do first priority, I've gone for the shield and the axe instead, is the build feels okay on 5 sockets, which is really quite astonishing. The other thing is, I think we were really lucky to have a build that actually increased in damage. I thought it was just going to be a bug in path of building, but it really does feel stronger than last league. And I've got a strong feeling that's the base damage increases we got at the beginning of the league. Because obviously base damage buffs bleeding quite a bit. Now, what are my thoughts on the league itself? I'm really enjoying the league content. It's a challenge. You've got to work out which of the remnants to use, in which order, to get optimal currency. So that's good. And also, if you're feeling lazy or you're just wanting to run, then you can skip that and just plonk them down anyway. You'll still get some currency, it just won't be anywhere near as good. The buffs to the currency and the logbooks has helped immensely. You can actually tell now that you're getting much more logbooks. Now, what do I think about the controversial nerfs that occurred? I think some of them were a little ridiculous, but they are rolling back some of the mana changes. They've agreed that some of them were a little too aggressive. So mana should get a little bit better for some builds. With regards to the nerfs themselves, we haven't really suffered on this build. However, some builds will really, really struggle. Some people in Guild have found that their damage is way lower than it used to be. Now, I know I hated the Flask changes originally, but I think they're actually a step in the right direction now. You no longer have this infinite and easy protection against freezing, shocks and stuff like that. So you've got to deal with them, and the tools they've given us, such as auto-casting Flasks, has been really, really useful. So it's a new set of problems to solve, and I've quite enjoyed solving it. I'll probably make a video on surviving freeze at some point in the near future. Now, I fully understand that some of you won't agree that the changes are good, especially if you play other people's builds, or you've played the same build league after league and it now feels terrible. But part of the challenge for me is taking those builds and trying to get them to work with the current skill gems. Because some of them will still work, but you might have to change them a bit. One of the new skills, the Rite of, I forget the name, the one that does chaos projectiles, that one is apparently broken. I've seen several people reporting that if you put it on a totem and pretty much run for a tier 11 map naked, you can do it. Just on its own without links, it's apparently really, really badly broken. So you might want to give that a try if you're looking for something that still feels strong. Now, I do think long term that the changes are going to lead to more controlled fights with fewer enemies that feel notably harder, and you're going to have to deal with like mini boss fights more than just killing trash. And I actually quite like the thought of that. But I think the changes they've made without nerfing the endgame and without reducing some of the monster's density is going to get a lot of people killed and is probably going to piss a lot of people off. But they're just my thoughts. So let's have a quick run through my support gems as they stand right now, and there will be a Path of Building link in the description below. Okay, so the gear and the links. In Jack the Axe, I have Leap Slam, link to Fortify, link to Faster Attack. So what I do is I jump around a lot, which gives me Fortify. In the helmet, we have Reckoning, link to Culling Strike, which will kill things that get below 10% life. And we have Hextech support linked to Vulnerability, so it also curses when it hits them. And it fires quite a lot because we're at max block. In Lionized Remorse, we have Cast when damage taken, linked to Molten Shell, linked to Blood Rage. So this gives us our Blood Rage charges and activates our guard skill to give us more hit points. My amulet's pretty crap, but I have allocated Command of Steel. Someone actually noted in the comments for this video that I was pathing all the way up here to this and getting this on my amulet. So they suggested changing to cut this out and then getting one gem to fill in the 1% I was missing to max block. So I've actually made that change and we'll grab those axe blocks manually. Chest, 5 link. We've got BladeStorm, linked to Chance to Bleed, linked to Brutality, linked to Melee Fizz, and then Ruthless. Now Ruthless I do want to switch out, and we also want to switch in Deadly Ailments at some point. Now, I am levelling one on here, which I'll probably switch out and then get a new one for this one. Now a lot of people have been rightly concerned about the reduction to hit damage with Deadly Ailments. It's gone from 10% less to 80% less, which is massive. But the important thing is it doesn't affect the bleed, so it's actually a benefit. So why is it a benefit? It's a benefit because it actually allows us to run Fizz Reflect maps, theoretically. I haven't tested it yet, but it should work. Obviously the loss of multiplier isn't great, but it's only a small loss in multiplier. It's still the second best skill gem for damage on this build. My rings, this one's my Mana Sustain. It's got Dex, Attack. This actually isn't a bad ring, it's just got no resistances apart from Chaos. Woo, point and Chaos. For the first time in many, many leagues, I've got positive Chaos resistance. That never ever happens. Oh, we're also above 75% because of the tree setup. Other ring is resistances, mainly focused around what I was missing and then some life rolled on it. Gloves, the great thing about them is they got 100 life. Beyond that, there's not a great deal it gives us. I dropped a really good Stitch and Vice. So we got 78 life, 22 strength, and loads of resists, armor and evasion. And then we got a gem in there which gives us increased attack speed, maximum life, and there's a fire damage roll. I don't need that, it doesn't do anything for us, but I haven't got a better gem yet. And then the boots. These are a reward pair of boots because they're the best ones I've found for resistances. I will be changing these out at some point. And then the flasks. I've got a quartz, a quicksilver, a granite, and a jade. I'll probably be switching one of these out. And all of them are automated. This one is used whenever I take a savage hit, which makes us run away from the boss really fast. Obviously not optimal, but we can change that out when we get to it. This one switches off poison as soon as we've been poisoned, because I'm really bad at doing it. I'm waiting to get poisoned before I do it. And this one is the Freeze Immune Flask, which helped fix the problems I had with freeze until I got max block. And then the ascendancies are absolutely as per the build guide. Blood in the Eyes, Gratuitous Violence, Pain Forged, and Versatile Combatant. Now looking at the path of building, if you haven't got it set right, you may notice that I'm not a block cap. And the reason is we get block cap when we hit, because we get an 8% chance to block attack damage if we're damaged by a hit recently, which puts us just at the cap. Okay, so that's my update for this character for week 1, and also my thoughts on the league. If you disagree with me or agree with me, then let me know in the comments below. And if you like it, then please tickle that like button. It will like it, I promise. And with that, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.